going out there, YouTube? This is JVS SEL0320. Here I got an awesome guest. Her name's Sean, Mr. Turntime himself. Awesome man of God. We just came back from the movie called War Room, and like, to be frank, this is gonna be completely. This is never unscripted. Normally it's not scripted anyway, but this movie was amazing. I've heard different people telling me like, "Yo, are y'all gonna watch this movie? Y'all gonna review it?" And unfortunately, Joe couldn't watch tonight because he was dealing with going to work and stuff like that. But me and Sean, we saw it, and honestly, I don't know if I can come out of this movie the same. Like, I've never felt such power and weight all at the same exact time.
Get it off.
But no, all seriousness, we're gonna have on the other page. I'm gonna be doing a whole in-depth discussion on this movie. I'm just gonna touch on some few points for this one, just for the basic review. As far as the look and the feel of this movie, it was professionally done.
It was authentic.
it was really shot really well. It wasn't in one specific place the whole entire time, but they paid attention to a lot of points, which focused on the war room or the prayer room of the main character, Elizabeth, and then the side character that's so pivotal. And like, it's crazy how by the end of the movie you can tell that what this older lady is doing for this young girl and her family, it is pulling weight for not just one person, but it touches thousands. Yeah. And I think towards the end they showed different areas across the world. And I was like, the scope of this movie is just totally different. Like, I mean, what was it, Courageous that came out?
Courageous, you got Fireproof, you got
Facing the Giants.
Facing the Giants. You have a lot of movies. Even something that I felt like was a strong movie was Unconditional. And you know, that's what Michael Ealy in it. And this movie was like he said, professionally shot. Kept you captivated from beginning to end. Like, I mean, I kind of see why it tops. And me personally, I haven't saw.
Hold on, here's Joe. You keep going.
Oh, I never saw Straight Outta Compton yet, but in the box office, it's saying that, you know, that it's doing a little bit better or doing better, you know, in sales. But man, trust me, I see why. I mean, it was packed with comedy.
It was so funny.
It was serious. And if you're a Christian that's on the fence, I'm telling you, that's a movie that you have to see. Yeah, you have to see it. If you need any questions or anything answered, man, go to see that movie. Absolutely,
absolutely, because it's like, you can have certain Christian films in the past, like especially in the 90s, that it had powerful messages, but the delivery wasn't executed so well that it seemed professionally made. Movies like God's Not Dead and such as this movie and Courageous, they are professionally done. Alex Kendrick that directed, such as he said, Facing the Giants, Flywheel, Fireproof, these movies they're progressively better. Each time he not just tops it as far as scope and his visuals, but even the delivery of the messages and the acting performances. And I mean, like, the look of this film, like I said, it was done really well. It didn't feel cheesy, but when there were comedic moments, they hit. When there are moments that were powerful, they were executed well. And the way the cinematography was done. Even like, because I mean, you could go and have like a panned out scope or something and it doesn't touch, more so than having two people looking at each other and you're seeing two different cameras and you're seeing the piercingness of the situation that they're acting. And I guess that's a good segue into the acting. What did you think about the acting for this one?
Man, the acting was off the hook.
Yeah.
I mean, if none of the cast were all-stars, you wouldn't know it. Like, yeah. I mean, they had skills. They went in. Like, I mean, one of the biggest things for me is to not see somebody uncomfortable in their position or in their role. And it felt like everybody embraced their role. And I mean, when you embrace your role, you start believing that that person is the character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, they take on a shape and form of that character, and you can't think about, like, I mean, everybody remember on Friday, like Ice Cube.
Yes.
I mean, and then you know, Debo. Everybody knows Debo for being Debo. Like, don't nobody look at Debo as whatever his real name is.
Yeah.
They look at him as Debo, even Felicia. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's so true. That's so true, because like, there's some people that they can embody a character and love it so much that they were not just typecasted, they were handpicked to do this role for this such a time. And I mean, not just the weight of their performance, but the spiritual influence behind it. There's a lot of pivotal messages that were delivered by different key people. I'll say that Karen Abercrombie, who plays the role of Miss Clara, the older lady, the lady that, the character Elizabeth is played by Priscilla Shearer. I think that's how you pronounce her name, but she plays the wife in the situation. And she's basically meeting with Miss Clara to try to like sell the house, and like she's trying to present all these different kind of things, but their whole interaction just from the jump is just so hilarious, because I was sitting there taking notes. I was like, wow, because one of the things she had said, she was like, well, what is your time you spend with like in prayer? Like, how much do you go to church? You know, like that. And she was like, yeah, I do just as much as about any other person. Like, I don't do too much. I'm not too low. And one of the funniest lines, like, she's like, oh, you want a pot of coffee, honey? And she goes to get her some coffee. Yeah. And she's like, Miss Clara, why is this all lukewarm? She's like, oh, my coffee's hot. Yours lukewarm. I was like, oh, it's not. Like, it was literally, she's not just trying to project Christianity or project, like, something from her mind. She's going off of stuff that she's gone through in her lifetime on this earth, and she's trying to get the character Elizabeth to this point that of understanding that there is a way to combat the situation that she's going through. Because a lot of times, like, when you have like characters or even real life people, we go through financial burdens, we go through fights, we go through relational issues, and they cause us to have a lot of dissension and problems within our household or on our workforce. But a lot of those issues can be changed or tempered through certain strategic means. And Miss Clara was really trying to give this woman really powerful and grace and different advice that really is going to change the scope of her life in the middle of this. One of the things about this movie is that you get to see that. You get to see from the beginning to the middle to the end personal applications that you can put within your marriage, relationships, or even if you're the dad in the situation, or if you're the child in the situation, or if you're the best friend that's trying to motivate somebody that's living in such a situation as what Elizabeth and her husband Tony were going through. And it's just done and executed so well. And I know it has to do with the scripting, but it's believable. So I have to give it credit to the actors, because I really felt like, kind of like he said, that they're really living this. Like, it didn't feel like, okay, somebody just reading lines or even acting it. I felt as though that this is what people are going through, and these supernatural events or catastrophic, like really messed up things that are happening, like I feel like they were all believable and executed very well. So whoever the writer was in the, oh my gosh.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one thing that I can say about it, at the end, it even had a text that's very memorable, and something that we need to even get out there, and it was 2 Chronicles 7:14.
Ooh.
I mean, it was so powerful to see that at the end, because it says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. So to hear that, it kind of like, it was the perfect script just for that whole movie in one gist. And towards the end, what's really touched me is when I saw everybody all over the world, all different type of denominations, any type of color, like, that's a big thing in our world right now, is like, we have a hard time coming together as black, white, gray, yellow, orange, whatever our skin tones are. We have a problem with coming together, and to see that at the end of the movie, I felt like that's something that some people need to really focus and hone in on. another thing that really touched me is I saw a police officer actually praying. I think our police officers need that. So just to swoop it all up in one, just like, I mean, I was just proud and happy to be a Christian and to be in that movie theater and be able to boast proudly, like, you know, really knowing that my faith rocks.
Yeah,
yeah.
Man.
So
that's so on target, because I mean, me and him, we're both believers. Like we have a love for God, we have a fear of God, but we also have a respect for our fellow man. We don't like to see our family or our friends in suffering, you know, and domestic violence or domestic abuse or verbal abuse or different things of dissension that happens within our relationships, that is common every day. And this movie, it doesn't beat it over the head. You know what I'm saying? They could have went into a lot of different abuse kind of things and a lot of other kind of dissension stuff. They made it as it is. This is the beginning stages of end of a marriage. And like I said, to kind of simplify it, I'm not going to be talking about the outcome or even the delivery of the marriage. I feel like you need to go to the movies and see that yourself. If you want to go and know more about that, go to our discussion. We're going to have it on the Jesus versus Sin page. But I will say, to look at a marriage that was literally dissolving, and to have somebody, just a small older person, to come in and speak certain life over a person. It only takes one voice to self-influence somebody to fight for their marriage or to fight for their life when they're thinking about going into depression or suicide or like forsaking everything else to substance abuse or something like that. All it takes is a voice. And one of these things to me for this movie, motivationally, it empowered me to feel as though that I could be doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like a willingness in my heart now that's changed. Even though I have a love for people, even though I have a heart for God, like it's a whole different thing when you realize that when somebody at your workforce, they're doing something against you and they're hindering you, that it may not be that person. It may be circumstantial. It may be that there is the enemy, there is the devil, and they are projecting onto this person all these different kind of things, and it's coming and feeding back to you. And when you have that realization that it's not the person, that it might be the actual enemy that's in your face that's doing this, then you know what you're really fighting. It's not flesh and blood. You know what I'm saying? It's not man. And that the whole thing about that is that that's a realization for anybody that's believer or a non-believer. Like there is a real enemy that wants to kill and destroy. I mean, because the whole realization is evil does exist. And it's embodied within sin from my perspective, but you do know that there is evil in this world because you can see it. It's tangibly everywhere. But what you do for somebody else and how you have love for somebody else is done so well in this one, just through this amazing, different, and difficult family, African-American family, but it can be applied to any family. And the motivations of prayer and what they mean in this standpoint of this movie is done so powerfully that it will touch you. If you go into this movie and you don't feel touched, I mean, yeah, tell me in the comment section that you weren't touched. That's fine. But I can tell you, and I know that it will stamp something in your heart and in your brain forever. And that's what that movie did for me. It imparted something amazing. And I loved it. And I mean, as a believer, of course, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. But just as a movie reviewer, I'd have to give it a 9 or a 10, like just because of the delivery. It made me laugh. I was entertained. There were some serious things that were happening. Even if the practical results of things happening were supernatural, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what all these movies that I watch, they're all supernatural. They're all completely different. But that doesn't say that they were amazing experiences. And this movie made me feel a lot more positive, and it was a powerful delivery, and I really enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Anything else you can think of?
I think the last thing that I'm going to say is the obvious. I'm a married man. I have a daughter.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have these things going on in my life where me and my wife are rifting on anything like that, that's something that every married couple need to see.
Yeah.
They need to know exactly how to war against the enemy in situations when you feel like your marriage is going down the drain.
That's right.
I never, like I said, I've never been in that situation, but now I could use this to maybe help somebody.
Yeah.
You know, even if I don't go through it myself, it'll be better if I could help somebody versus watching them drown. And even his best friend on there was like, the dude was like off the hook. I mean, he was not letting him. He didn't really do anything to, I guess, force them back together. But he did let him know that he's not going to watch his marriage drown.
Yeah. And
as a best friend, you need that. Like you need a best friend that's willing to tell you straight up. Yeah. You didn't get married to somebody you didn't love. So I mean, for me, like I said, once again, to be married and to have a child, you know, it touched me. Trust me, anybody who have a child, and you know, if you're a woman or a man, like, it'll change. It's a life-changing experience, and now I have that extra tool to kind of propel my marriage to the next level. And,
wow!
You know, to be married at such a young age, man, it's gonna. First thing I'm gonna do is rush my wife to go and see it. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch it with her, but I'm gonna rush to see her. I'm gonna rush her to see the movie. So yeah, so that's my closing.
So the movie, it means so much more to you because you're living it.
Yeah.
Not the circumstances, but you're literally. I mean, it can be used as tools to counteract anything that might come as an opposition later, and take care of the warning signs when it comes to dissension and bickering or anything like that. Like, so, man. And I mean, I guess the proof is in the pudding because everybody was clapping. Like, I mean, we weren't just like clapping, you know, like at the end of the movie you clap, that's for a good movie. But people were like,
it was clapping like it was a play or a
for a long time. I was thinking to myself, encore. That was what was going on in my heart. I was like,
I saw my first standing O was probably when I saw God's Not Dead, but this one was a little bit more deeper. Like, I think people had no other choice but to stand up and clap. Yeah. Like, you know, I know the actors can't hear it, but man, God is probably like, man, cheesing hard. Cheesing real hard. So,
shoot. So, he was like, y'all didn't know. Y'all thought it was it. God's Not Dead. He was like, you know what? I had something else for y'all. Y'all didn't even know.
For me, I feel like that's not even the last.
Yeah.
It's going to be plenty more to come. Man, we have to stay tuned. We really got to stay tuned.
Shoot,
and,
man, that got me excited to make on my movies now. Shoot. You talking about stuff, like, I mean, some stuff in my heart, but this guy, he's also got some amazing stuff. And if y'all would like to, I'd like to put in the description bar below, you're about to start up your site, right?
Yeah.
As far as what you're going to be doing with graphics and art, and it's some really amazing stuff. So I'm going to leave some kind of link at the bottom below so y'all can check out his stuff. But yeah, like, definitely go check out War Room. It was amazing, great delivery, great cast, and Alex Kendrick has done it again. That's all I can really say.
War Room out.
Yeah, y'all. Take care, everybody. JVS, we out. Joe, you gotta see War Room, bruh.